Hey, Internet. It's Paul. It's Matt. Paul is going to have that face for this entire little bit. This is a shorter bit.
Ouch. This is going to hurt.
Because everything in my world, revolves around Lord of the Rings, which isn't true, but is true. I am about to now give to you my visual essay of Does Justice League borrow from Lord of the Rings? What? The answer is yes. So done.
Okay.
And we're done. Okay, no. Why and how, you ask?
Prove yourself, sir.
All right, so be it. All right, so what we got is the Legend of the Mother Boxes.
Okay.
Back in the day,
Yes.
So the analog here, Steppenwolf equals Sauron.
Okay.
So Steppenwolf was defeated after much difficulty by all the races uniting. The
Sure.
Atlanteans and the Amazonians and the humans all got together and they managed to defeat.
They're Atlanteans and you're who?
This is in
DC.
in
Sorry.
Justice League.
Justice League. Okay.
Right.
Yes. Atlanteans. Yes.
Right. The Atlanteans. Right. Boom. So
Yeah,
they push him out, but then thousands of years later, he comes back.
Yes.
And when he comes back,
Yes.
the Atlanteans and the Amazonians and the humans are like divided.
Oh.
And so they're not ready to take him on yet. They have to find a way to unite in order to stop him. Well, that's exact. Bloop! That is the blueprint of Lord of the Rings. You got the elves and the humans, and they get together. They defeat Sauron, push him back.
Yep.
Thousands of years later, he's back.
Yes.
But the dwarves and the elves and the humans, they're not really hanging. They just trust each other, blah, 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 blah. We gotta unite.
Yeah.
And in fact, a microcosm of all the races uniting is like the Fellowship of the Ring. It's this small group of heroes of different types. There's an elf.
Yeah.
There's a dwarf.
Sure,
there's a human.
You're right about that.
They come together to ultimately win the day.
Okay.
In this case, it's the Justice League. It's there's an Atlantean.
Yeah.
There's an Amazonian.
That's true.
There's a human.
That's right.
And they come together in a microcosm to save the day. And it's all about objects, right? So in the case, it's
though.
it
didn't seem so important that you had that Aquaman was an Atlantean, and Diana was a Amazon, and who was the representative? I guess it was either Cyborg or Flash, or Batman were the humans.
I would say Batman, but just like in Lord of the Rings, there are multiple humans.
That one that important. It's not like they were. Oh, I must now.
Except the fact that I'm gathering that the number of metahumans is limited, and it just so happens that one of the metahumans is an Atlantean. Like, we got to go win this guy over. He doesn't trust humans. All right. Okay. So
I mean, I think it seems like the early, we must all band together, is more like it than and now let's come back together again.
Well, so I feel like you got the intention is for Batman to be Aragorn, in that he is while trying to bring everybody together, he also doubts the ability of humans to succeed. Because there's a line that Bruce Wayne says in Justice League where he says something like, if you're counting on humans to do this, then we've lost, or something like that. He said, which is almost an exact phrase that Aragorn says.
Is that right? If you're counting on.
He doesn't say it that way. He says the blood of men. I wouldn't bring this ring within 100 leagues of your city. Basically saying, I don't trust humans because they're going to screw this up.
Okay.
And he has to eventually embrace his own humanity because he is a human. And he's like, yeah, okay, I guess we have our frailties, but we also have the capability to overcome them.
Who is this?
It's Aragorn. Okay. But it's also Batman. I think Batman has a change. As I said, Batman goes from this, like a misanthrope, to like a, hey, we can do this.
He wants to start a club.
Yeah, he wants to start a club and defend the world. So here's where it deviates, though.
Oh.
So while they want him to be Aragorn, he ends up being, Batman is much more of an analog, as it turns out, in some ways, to Boromir.
What?
And you have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's fine. So,
well, no, you told me earlier, so I know who Boromir. I didn't know his name. But,
okay, so Boromir is one of the Fellowship. He's a human.
Sure.
He's a good fighter. He's a leader. He's a leader of men.
Yes.
But his whole thing is he wants to use the enemy's weapon against the enemy. So it's like, hey, here's, in this case, in Lord of the Rings, it's the Ring of Power.
Sure.
I want to use this ring to fight the enemy.
Yes.
And it's the wiser folks in the Gandalf and such are like, yeah, no. If you try to use this ring, you're basically just going to become what you hate the most.
Right.
And so violence begets violence.
Sure.
And it'll just be you'll be the new Sauron, basically.
Right.
So the only way to do it is to, instead of using this weapon, is to destroy the weapon and remove this threat of violence.
Right.
So in the case of Justice League, Batman basically is like, look, we got this mother box. Why don't we use it against Steppenwolf? Which basically would be the equivalent of, let's use the Ring of Power against Sauron.
Yes.
We'll bring guys back from the dead.
Yes.
I'm sure there's no ramifications for that happening. Which is funny then because, Aquaman and Wonder Woman are about, I don't think it's a good idea. And, Flash is even like, Pet Cemetery. The idea of, like, necromancy, which is what Sauron is actually called, the necromancer. The idea of bringing someone back from the dead. Now, in Justice League, they're like, yeah, well, we want him to punch people and win through violence.
And he's a Kryptonian.
So we're going to win through violence. We're not going to win through everybody
getting together and
shake
holding hands.
Yeah.
No,
so blah.
So
they basically take the premise, the ultimate premise
Yes.
of Lord of the Rings. They get all the way to the premise, and they're like, let's actually use the Ring of Power and see what happens. And so they do, and you know what? In both cases, it works out okay.
Yeah.
And so, yay!
So there you go. Maybe they should have used it earlier. Less people would have died.
It's the
in Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, it's true. I mean, in both cases, it kind of works out just because the guy writing it decided it should work out. But yeah.
Newsflash, that's always why it works out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm like eternally don't care about this. Who would win between Thor and the Hulk? Whoever the writer wants to win.
I was just waiting for there to be some kind of a Frodo-like character that was going to be like, I'll take the box. Like, no, we should. No, I'll destroy it in the nuclear reactor where it was made.
See, that would have been the opportunity to have Jimmy Olsen. They had to kill him in Batman v Superman.
Now, apparently, the actor who played Jimmy Olsen made a cameo as a cop.
Really?
In this. There you go.
That was nice of him.
Yeah. But the real Jimmy Olsen in this universe got shot, right?
Yeah, he got shot. He's shot in the head.
Dead.
Or whatever, yeah.
Shot through the heart. All right, anyway. So there you go. That is how Justice League borrowed from a pretty cool book series.
Sure.
But maybe the results weren't awesome. But, hey, you borrow from some good works. Sometimes you're going to get some good gems out of it.
Next week, how Hawaii Five-0 borrows from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's easy. Okay. All right. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Thank you for humoring me.
Sure.
Paul.
Sure.
I appreciate it. Anytime you want to compare something to Lord of the Rings, I will sit and just take... So anyway, all right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you. Bye now.